Dominic West reveals what he misses the most about playing Prince Charles in The Crown.
No, but people would bow all day when I was on set, and then I'd go home and my kids wouldn't bow to me anymore. And that's the best thing about being royal.
And Princess Kate celebrates her 42nd birthday as the Suits cast has a group chat without Meghan. And it's been 1 year since the release of Spare. Royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams helps us look back and what is ahead for Prince Harry in 2024.
So, I mean, redemption in theory is in everyone's interest, but would you trust them? That's the trouble.
We've got that plus so much more in today's Royal Yes. Hey everyone, I'm Christina and that's Christine, and welcome to another big week of royal news. We caught up with Prince Charles himself, well, Dominic West, but we did catch up with Prince Charles, so excited for you all to see that. But yeah, another big week of royal news.
There's so much to, we say it every week, there's so much to get into, but I mean, there's always something to talk about. It's a fresh start in the new year, and I'm really excited for what we have to get into.
Definitely. We have to kick it off by wishing the Princess of Wales a very happy 42nd birthday. I know the royal family did release a photo of her at the coronation and wishing her a very happy birthday. And we know that they only send well wishes and happy birthdays to senior members of the royal family. So before everybody gets up in arms, that's why you haven't seen other well wishes, but very excited for her. And hopefully she's having a lovely day with her family.
Yes, I hope she's truly spoiled. There's been so many messages from the royal wedding florist to her favorite fashion designers and jewelry brands to, you know, sort of lots of bloggers. Everyone's wishing Kate a happy birthday. I can't imagine being tagged in that many birthday posts.
Right, I know. It's going to take her all day just to go through them all. But luckily for her, she is enjoying some downtime, and so is the rest of the royal family, because many may be wondering, you know, they haven't been out and about, but January is usually a quiet month for them. But King Charles is actually instead of spending the remaining month in Sandringham, as his mother, Queen Elizabeth, did, he and Queen Camilla will head north to Balmoral for the start of the year. Now, Queen Elizabeth would remain at Sandringham through the anniversary of the death of her father on February 6th. He passed away while at the Norfolk estate, but Charles will break with this tradition for the second year in a row and spend January in Scotland. According to the Telegraph, King Charles and Queen Camilla will spend the next few weeks at Birk Hall on the Balmoral estate, which is said to be the king's favorite residence and the one they consider their marital home. And he's likely to spend time at the Castle of May, his late grandmother's former home on the North Coast. So if you're wondering why they're not out and about, that is why.
Yep, this is definitely sort of the royal holiday season. They take an extended break. And it is so interesting as we slowly see these royal traditions change, whereas Queen Elizabeth II spent this time solely at Sandringham. King Charles prefers to spend time up in Scotland. And, you know, these little changes that show us that this is really a new reign.
It's a new reign, yes. And hopefully, like we said, they're enjoying some downtime. Well, while in the midst of all of this, there was some big news, and calls for an investigation into Prince Andrew intensified after he was named in court filings tied to Jeffrey Epstein that were unsealed. But British police say there are no plans for a probe at this time. The Metropolitan Police said in a statement, "We are aware of the release of court documents in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. As with any matter, should new and relevant information be brought to our attention, we will assess it. No investigation has been launched." Anti-monarchy group Republic, which has protested numerous royal events throughout the year, including King Charles's coronation, is among those calling for an investigation. It seems like a lot of what we found out in these documents is a lot of things that we already knew. So yes, there probably wouldn't be a new investigation, but not a, well, it's no, I guess it's never good to be Prince Andrew.
No, and this is really just another nail in the coffin of him sort of stepping away from royal life, fully closing that book. There's probably lots of things we can learn from this, especially if Prince Andrew was very much present at Sandringham for Christmas. And on the one hand, he is still family, and, you know, lots of us have sort of weird uncles that hang around at family events, but how it's perceived by the public and sort of, you know, showing that support in a way, it's a tricky road to follow for the royal family, I think. But in terms of the public role, Prince Andrew needs to be totally out, which is interesting given our next story.
Right, yeah, let's spill some tea, because apparently in a new report that he will reject any efforts to get him evicted from his royal mansion in the aftermath of these documents. And so he has reportedly vowed to fight any attempt by his brother, King Charles, to force him out of his royal lodge in Windsor, which he currently shares with his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. They are not, apparently a source close to Andrew said in an interview in the Mirror, that he is going nowhere. They said that the king can't force him out. He has a cast iron lease that he has absolutely every intention of honoring. I totally believe this story. Usually sometimes we don't believe these source reportings, but I believe this one. I mean, I feel like he is probably going to dig his heels in and not want to leave.
He is 100% going to dig his heels in. He does not want to leave that enormous mansion that, I mean, what is he even doing with all of those rooms? Half of them must be empty. But
right.
Prince Andrew, I think you need to take a hint. It's the time. I mean, it's way past time to bow out gracefully. We're no longer bowing out gracefully. You're just bowing out at this point.
No, seriously. Yeah, it's time to probably remove yourself. Okay, well, moving on over to Meghan Markle. She isn't in the conversation about the latest Suits hype. The Duchess of Sussex hasn't been part of the cast's recent group texts about the show's massive recent resurgence. Gina Torres told Variety at the Golden Globes, saying, when it all came through, we were all texting each other. This is, of course, talking about their Golden Globes reunion. And she said, yes, our text thread is insane right now, so it's very exciting. However, Meghan is not in the conversation. She said, we don't have her number. We just don't. So she'll see, she'll watch, she'll be happy that we're here. Interesting that she's not in the Suits group chat since some of her co-stars were at her wedding. We assumed that they had remained friends for quite some time, but I guess, maybe just the distance of Montecito and Los Angeles was too much.
I think Gina Torres handled this really elegantly. She did seem a bit surprised by the question and put on the spot. If you go back and watch the clip, it is really interesting. I think this to me says that Meghan really wants to separate herself from her acting career. So I don't know that we're going to see her sort of dive back into any Hollywood roles. Listen, never say never with Harry and Meghan. So, don't count on that necessarily. But this was, this could have been a red carpet, Golden Globes glamorous opportunity for Meghan. I'm sure they would never have turned her down. No. But clearly that's not the path that she's trying to go down.
No, when the two women from the Suits cast came out on stage joining the men, I was like, oh, she's next. I really thought that she was going to come out and be a part of that, because that would have been an unbelievable moment. I'm sure they did reach out and tried to make that happen. But yeah, it seems like you said, they are in two different worlds right now, and she's kind of putting that behind her. But who knows what the future will hold. Well, also on the red carpet, I spoke with Dominic West, who, of course, plays King Charles on The Crown, about what he will miss the most and if his son is still mad that he wouldn't let him be in the Netflix series. Take a look.
What will you miss the most about playing Prince Charles?
People bowing to me.
Does that happen in real life too now?
No, it doesn't. No, but people would bow all day when I was on set, and then I'd go home and my kids wouldn't bow to me anymore. And that's the best thing about being royal.
Yes, seriously. Was this the time of your life doing this show?
Yeah, it was actually. It was great. It was great. Lots of actors that I really respect and have a good time with, like Imelda, who I've done a few things with. But and then in beautiful places and wearing beautiful clothes and talking funny accents. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah. What was the most challenging part about this role for you?
I suppose the fact that they're real and that you're dealing with people's lives that are highly traumatic at the time, and I think we were all a bit sensitive about that.
Yeah, I know you said you didn't want your son to be part of this series for a very valid reason. How does he feel about that now?
He's furious. Yeah. Can't believe it.
Yeah, it seems like his son is still furious with him, understandably so.
Yeah, I mean, we can't blame him. I can't blame Dominic West as a father, and I cannot blame his son.
Yes. But The Crown was a winner. Elizabeth won for her portrayal of Princess Diana, and she gave a beautiful speech as well. So it's sad to see this series come to an end. But I think that a lot of people had different opinions on how it wrapped up. But it's still 6 seasons of really great television. Definitely. All right. Well, let's break down some royal rules. And like we said, it's been 1 year since Spare was released, which is crazy. And so much has changed for Harry since then. We sat down with royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams to look back at this past year and what is ahead for the royal family. Take a look. Richard, as we know, it has been 1 year since Spare was released. It seems like yesterday because we're still talking about it so much. I mean, how do you feel that this past year has been for Harry?
Frankly, I think that it's not been a particularly good year for him, and certainly not for Meghan. And I think Spare was a catalyst. There was a sense in which we knew that because of the title, it was going to be very difficult. It was going to be a knocking job on the royal family, which is what it was. It was very bitter. So the problem with Harry and Meghan this year is, what are they there for? What exactly are they doing? I mean, the fact Joe Coy made a quip at the Globes that they were earning millions for nothing, I think had a certain truth to it, because the trouble seems to me that Meghan months ago joined the William Morris Endeavour agency and hasn't, as far as I can see, done anything. And indeed, the only thing that they've been really active at that I can see this year, because the Invictus program for Netflix, though very worthy, was over 4 hours and people didn't watch it, was Invictus. And of course, Invictus, as well as Wellchild, which Harry was involved in, and Sentebale, he was involved in all of those before his marriage. So, one must ask, what are they there for? What are they planning? All these exciting things.
We have some reporting that this is, a redemption year for Harry and Meghan. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think that is possible?
Well, this is what people were talking about before the Omid Scobie book, Endgame, came and caused such a fiasco. And when King Charles turned 75, Harry spoke to him, and apparently there were arrangements they'd speak again. And then, of course, things drifted back into a pretty bitter standoff, I think. I do wonder whether the Sussexes could ever be trusted. I mean, really trusted, because they've got this Faustian pact with the media. They've done a lot of harm to the royal family, especially among young people, 18 to 24-year-olds, low ratings. So, on the other hand, the royals do have problems, as you know, with Andrew, and they do not want two areas where they get very embarrassing publicity or they get trouble. So obviously it's in everyone's interest that something be patched up. But since the Sussexes it's so unclear. I mean, if Meghan was going to go into politics, or they were going to become they were going to create shows, or they were going to do more podcasts, or we simply don't know. So, I mean, redemption in theory is in everyone's interest, but would you trust them? That's the trouble.
Yeah, I still think that it's incredible that a year later, we're still talking about Spare and the aftermath of what happened with that book.
Unbelievable. Hopefully we have some really big royal stories to freshen up our subjects, our topics for this year.
I hope so. All right. Well, wrapping up with our royal history moment of the week. And the Boston-based RR Auction is currently selling a drawing believed to have been made by the future Queen Elizabeth in the early 1930s, when she was between the ages of 4 and 6. So according to the auction house, the red crayon doodle is thought to depict Elizabeth's take on a proposed new building at the Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children in London, and was sent to the playwright J.M. Barrie, along with a letter from her mother, best known later in life as Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, which is also up for auction. So Barrie was a friend of the royal family and is best known as the creator of Peter Pan. So this is really interesting. So I guess if you're in the Boston area, maybe make an offer on this 1930s drawing.
Yeah, it's so sweet. It's very much like a child's drawing in crayon. And then the Queen Mother's letter is very funny. She sort of says, it's not a very good picture, so make of it what you will, which I think, as Queen Elizabeth was so young when she drew it, I'm sure any parent has sort of gotten a picture and you're like, oh, okay, thank you. That's lovely. And it's nice to know that royals are just like us. Some things never change, even almost, 90 years ago.
It's incredible. I mean, you and I both know our kids are around the same age, and they're not drawing. There's no Picassos over here. Just like us. I love it. Well, that's a wrap on this week's episode of Royally Us. And like we said, another big week, and the royal news will just continue on. So, Christine, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next week.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.